Thank you guys so much for tuning in to our first annual Entrepreneur Mindset Summit, brought to you by LearnBiz LLC. Thank you again for our speakers who will be sharing their wisdom tonight with us. I'm Sandy B, and I'm here with Lisa K. Crawford, and we are LearnBiz LLC. So tonight we're going to start off with some intros to make sure that you have an idea of who we are and what we are all about. I'm going to start first with Lisa K. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you, Sandy B. I'm Lisa K. Crawford. In my profession, I am a real estate broker associate as well as a probate attorney. And I'm so glad to be here tonight with everyone.
And I'm Sandy Boisrond. I'm the co-founder of LearnBiz LLC, also the co-host of LearnBiz, the podcast, this channel that you are watching here on YouTube. And I'm an estate planning attorney by day. Tonight, we are going to be getting into some really great information for all entrepreneurs and wanted to share some information with you first. So we are with LearnBiz LLC, an entrepreneur coaching agency where we provide consulting, coaching, training, and development for Black entrepreneurs and supporting them to help learn, build, and grow their business. So our podcast, LearnBiz, the podcast, allows us to spotlight Black entrepreneurs. So we are the home of the Black entrepreneur, and we provide peer-to-peer education pretty much every week as we interview different individuals from different industries. So the first thing I want you to do is please make sure that you click subscribe to our channel. Be sure to like this video and share it, and take advantage of an opportunity to support a Black business. So I'm going to go ahead and get started by giving you a breakdown of tonight's program. But first, just want to let you know to stay tuned for a couple of things from LearnBiz. The Entrepreneur Mindset Tactical Planner ebook will be coming out soon. And we also have some t-shirts and mugs as well. And just to let you know about some upcoming guests on our podcast, we will have NFL veteran and real estate investor Jonathan Cyprian on this Friday. Next week, we will have TV host and attorney Suzette Speaks. And the following week, we will have Crystal Chanel, the mistress of ceremonies. We also will have Dunn's Josephine Hotel owner and operator Kristen Kitchen, who will be sharing some information about the hospitality industry. So we're going to go ahead and get started by sharing some information about the entrepreneur mindset topic that we chose for this summit. So the core principles and values surrounding how you run your business, both working on and in your business, which involves constantly educating yourself so that you can make the most intelligent and informed decisions about any aspect of your business at any time. That is what we would define as our entrepreneur mindset. And the focus of this summit allows you to be able to understand some of the different dynamics in business. So tonight we're going to talk about business formation with attorney Michelle Austin Pamies. We're going to talk about trademark and copyright with attorney Nequosha Anderson. We're going to talk about social media with Dr. Tachi. We're going to talk about branding with Harry Joseph, accounting and bookkeeping with Juliana Kennedy, and we're going to talk about health and wellness with Dr. Tasha. So we have a great program for you guys tonight, and I'm going to go ahead and shift to Miss Lisa K. Crawford so that we can talk about our speakers.
Thank you, Miss Sandy B. So to kick it off, our first speaker is attorney Michelle Austin Pamies. She is going to introduce herself and she's going to talk about business formation. So are you guys ready to get into formation, so to speak? So stay tuned here for Michelle Austin Pamies, Esquire. She will be the next voice you're going to hear.
Michelle, you're on mute.
Okay, so I was having this really great conversation with
It happens.
So good evening, everyone. I'd like to first start by thanking Lisa Crawford and Sandy B for inviting me to come speak on LearnBiz and to share with you some of the basics of business formation. I am Michelle Austin Pamies. I'm an attorney in private practice in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Been practicing for 25 years. Won't specify the number. And I would like to speak with you about forming a business. And we're going to start with really the most basic parts of it, which is when you're about to start a business, you're wondering what kind of entity are you going to form? Are you going to form a corporation? Are you going to form an LLC? And you hear a lot about it and you don't know why you should be forming one versus another. First, I'd like to say that when you're starting a business, you can begin by forming a sole proprietorship. You can do that. You can decide, my name's Michelle Austin Pamies, and I've decided that I'm going to start selling shoes. Do I need to form a company necessarily? No. Your social security number identifies you. And if you wanted to give a name to the company, you could even use your own person, Michelle Austin Pamies, but I'm going to be doing business as MAP. That's a fictitious name filing that you could do with the Florida Division of Corporations. So basically, it's not as if you're required to form an entity, but we choose to do it, and I'm going to talk about why that is. The first thing is you're trying to protect yourself from liability, so that if you, Michelle Austin Pamies, have a business selling shoes and you get sued by a customer, you are not personally liable. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to make sure that if you're sued, you're not sued as an individual. Because when you have limited liability, whatever lawsuit and damages would be assigned, it would be to the company. And whatever assets the company has, the company would pay, but not you as an individual. So there are different ways to have a limited liability type company. So the first one is the Limited Liability Company LLC. We'll talk about it because it's very popular today. You could form a limited liability company with the Florida Secretary of State. What you would do then is you would, besides filling out the forms and completing as necessary, you would then, after filing the company, registering it with the state of Florida, you would get an EIN number from the IRS. So that makes that company a different person than you. It's not your social security number. The limited liability company would have its own number. Now, when you're forming a business and you're the only owner, you could still have a limited liability company, an LLC, a single member. You're the only person who has that company. But if you decided that you wanted to have partners, or if it is a partnership that you're trying to establish, you would need an operating agreement which governs the relationship between you and your partners. Now, a lot of people take shortcuts. They form the entity. They know that they have several of partners called members in a limited liability company, and they would just start doing business. They say, okay, we agree, we each are 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, or 50-50. And there are all rules that apply. The laws are, the limited liability company laws apply to you, but you don't know what they are, and you just start functioning. You have a problem with evidence. Are you supposed to have 33%? Is somebody else supposed to have 50? Is it really equal? You don't have a document showing that. So an operating agreement is extremely important, and you need one once you form your limited liability company, especially when you have partners. When you form such a company, you have to be able to maintain the company. Maintenance means every year you must file an annual report with the Florida Division of Corporations. Now, the annual report is not a big deal if you do it timely. It's basically you restate that all the information about your company is accurate, including the members listed on on SunBiz on the Secretary of State website, and you pay a fee. It's pretty small, except that if the date for you to file the report expires, in order for you to keep the company going, you're going to pay a pretty stiff fine for having failed to file it timely. There are tax consequences to the type of entity you form. So at the most basic level, if you're a limited liability company, you're capable of choosing to be taxed as a partnership or as a corporation. When you're taxed as a partnership, the company's profits pass through the limited liability company to the individuals who are the members. So if at the end of the year the company makes $100,000 and you have two members 50-50, $50,000 is income to one member and $50,000 is income to the other. So it comes right through as if there was no limited liability company to go to the partners. If you're taxed as a corporation, it doesn't get taxed to you individually until it's distributed to you. But the corporation itself is taxed. So a lot of times the reason why the limited liability companies become popular is because you can have that pass-through taxation and you don't have two levels of tax. So imagine a scenario where you made $100,000 at the company level. You were taxed on that, and let's say you paid $30,000 in taxes. Then you went and distributed the $30,000, the remaining $70,000 to the two members, $35,000 to each member. What would happen is then each member would be taxed on the $35,000. So you would have been taxed twice. Very attractive to have a limited liability company because of that option of having pass-through taxation. There are reasons why people may decide to do something other. They may decide that they want to have the double level of tax. There are many reasons for that. They may decide to be taxed as a corporation because they are doing a lot of spending at the corporate level. They want to keep it right there, and they are not expecting to be making these distributions that I'm talking about on a regular basis. So if you're looking at your big corporations, the huge ones, they'll have C corporations, but that's for a bunch of different reasons, including the fact that if they want to have a public company, shareholders of an S corporation, which is a corporation that has a pass-through, just like the limited liability company, requires that you have to be a U.S. citizen or resident to have such an entity. Now, I would like to talk about the corporations a little bit more. So when you're looking at a corporation, a regular corporation, you do the same thing you would for a limited liability company. You form it with the Florida Secretary of State Division of Corporations. You get an EIN number, so you have an independent company. But we talked about an operating agreement for an LLC. But for a corporation, you need a shareholder agreement. The idea, again, you need shareholder agreement, you need bylaws. It governs how the corporation operates, the bylaws, and the shareholder agreement basically set forth your understanding with other shareholders as it relates to a variety of issues, including, for example, distributions or what happens upon your death. These issues are extremely important, and often that happens when you're new to business. You form the corporation and you let these things lie. In the future, we'll take care of having the shareholder agreement. In the future, we'll do X, Y, Z. And then when there's a dispute that arises, you don't have any documentation and you'll be subject to whatever the law is. And it would be best if you had already agreed upon what the understanding would be in a variety of circumstances, like if you wanted to sell your shares, what would happen, if there's a right to buy your shares in the company or another shareholder. All these things are things you should be thinking about early on when you're structuring the entity, so that you don't come across the problems with other shareholders in the future and then have to figure out how it is that you're going to resolve it. It also requires maintenance and the filing of an annual report. It also provides for limited liability. And as I indicated in brief a little bit earlier, you can have it be an S Corp, which is the type of corporation that has passed through taxation, just like an LLC, except that there's a special filing for that. You have to file a special filing, a form with the IRS requesting it, and then all shareholders would have to be a U.S. citizen or resident for that to work. I am moving on to I just wanted to point out just a few things that happen when you form a business and now you start having employees, right? We need to consider what happens when you have employees. When you have employees, you have to start figuring that there are other issues that arise. Is the employee an independent contractor? Or is the employee just an employee, a true employee? So you employ someone, you could have someone you employ to provide you with a service, but that person is independent from you, they have their own equipment, they don't have set hours. You have a contract with them stating that they're an independent contractor. That's one type of relationship. But when you have an employee, there are a lot of responsibility that come with that, including employment taxes. So if you're a business and you're now starting to have employees, you're not just working on your own by yourself, you have to consider, do I want an employee? Do I want an independent contractor? Am I ready to assume the responsibilities that come with having employees? Having employees means if you're in the state of Florida and you have more than 3 employees, you have to pay for workers' compensation insurance. If you also have to, you're responsible if you terminate the employee for unemployment insurance coverage. Basically, you are responsible at a very high level. And before you grow your company to include a variety or number of employees, you have to be ready to assume that. And most important, you need a good accountant. You need a good accountant because now that you have an employee or a few employees, you need to be able to prepare all the relevant payroll records. You need to be able to be timely with respect to all the payments to the IRS. And you really need to keep up. And often in a small company, it's difficult. People don't start out having all they need. So I say that once you are beyond just a sole proprietor, you need a lawyer. And if you are hiring individuals, you always need a good accountant, but you really do need to have a payroll system in place and a good accountant, in particular when you have employees, in order to avoid the pitfalls which come with not complying with the requirements of the law as it relates to taxes and workers' comp, among others. Well, that's all I have to say right now, Lisa, unless you have something you'd like to ask you to expand upon. Lisa?
Pardon me, I wrote myself out of the program real quick. Sorry about that. I was on mute. So Anastasia does have a question. Her question is, would an umbrella insurance cover in case of a sole proprietorship instead of an LLC? If I got that right, would an umbrella insurance cover in case of sole proprietorship instead of LLC? Do you understand that one?
What I guess her question is more for a risk manager than for me, but what she's saying is if she gets liability insurance, would it protect her in all cases the same as having a corporation or an LLC would? I wouldn't advise. Yeah, I don't think that's the way to go, Anastasia, because what you're trying to do is avoid liability for yourself as a person, not just cover the amount of liability. So there are different types of lawsuits that you can have, and really some of them would be covered by liability insurance, others wouldn't. There are different types of lawsuits you could have, breach of contract, that wouldn't be a liability insurance, etc. But you just want to keep it away from you. You don't want to just cover it. You want to keep it away from you. And it's in terms of facilitating someone in business, I think that all these types of entities you can form that protect you from liability, it's really inexpensive when you compare to the potential pitfalls if you're on your own without the protection of the corporate structure.
And Attorney Pamies, I have one more question. That is, a lot of people, they still might think, well, what do I do? Who do I talk to? Who would you suggest people start with when they need to decide what business formation is best with them?
Well, if the person already knows, for example, that they want limited liability, they would approach an attorney and have them form the entity for them. And the reason that I say approach an attorney, because a lot of people have an accountant file it for them because the accountant is familiar with Sundays, or they could even attempt to just go form the entity by themselves, and they could go on and figure it out, and they make calls to Florida Department of State. But I do believe that it's not extremely costly just to form an entity. And I think that you benefit from having professional guidance, because the reality of it is, if you file the entity and you're able to do that part of it, that's great. But what about the rest of it? Did you get your tax ID number? Did you get an operating agreement? Did you get the bylaws? Did you get a shareholder agreement? Are you using a form that you found online, but you don't know if it really applies to you and your partners? You need some guidance in order to understand the documents, even the most basic ones for a simple new business. You still need some guidance. So they would need some guidance on that, just to document themselves in order to make sure that they dotted their I's and crossed their T's.
Well, thank you for that. And that's why we're glad you're here. Attorney Michelle Austin Pamies. She just broke it down for us on business formation. Thank you, Attorney Pamies. We appreciate your contribution.
Thank you for having me.
And at this time, we are going to get prepared for our next speaker who will be coming on board. But before we do that, we'd like to keep talking about the entrepreneur mindset and what that means. So another way to look at it is that entrepreneur mindset is a way of thinking that enables you to be decisive, rise to challenges, overcome obstacles, learn from setbacks, and make the best daily improvements you can. And who does this come from? Adobe.com. I'm going to turn it over to Sandy to introduce our next speaker. Sandy?
Thank you so much, Lisa. So if you have enjoyed so far what you've been listening to, please be sure to click like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, LearnBiz, the podcast. We have the phenomenal Nequosha Anderson coming up next. I wanted to make sure that I let you know that, the essence of being an entrepreneur is making sure that you can protect your brand. So if you do not have a trademark attorney, someone who can handle your copyright, someone who can make sure to protect your brand, you are really, really slipping. So I'm going to bring up to our stream Miss Nequosha Anderson to introduce herself. Let me see, Nequosha's on mute.
Technical difficulties, my bad.
Oh man,
Listen, Linda.
We were lining it up like we had a whole
we
thing
were
going.
in there. We were in there, and of course, I had to come in and mess it up. So please excuse me. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us in this Entrepreneur Mindset Summit. My name again is Nequosha. Thank you, Sandy, for that introduction. Hi, Miss Lisa. How you doing today?
How are you?
I am doing well. So hi again to everyone. If you're watching me, hi, I'm waving. If you're listening to me, my right hand is up and it is also waving. But my name again is Nequosha, and entrepreneurs hire me when they want to protect their income producing ideas. And it's my job to make sure that your ideas and your brands are secure, so you are not robbed of them, my friends. So you are not robbed of them. So what I plan to do is to go over a lot of the key things. And one of the key things that every entrepreneur should have for their business is a trademark. And I have some slides, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen really quickly, so that way everyone can see and hear me, hopefully. So you should be able to see my screen. If not, let me know. But essentially what's in front of you is a screen talking about trademarks, okay? So although Sandy and the crew and Miss Lisa may have said this, simply you participating in this webinar and this free webinar does not mean that any of the speakers, including the lawyers speaking, you have an attorney-client relationship, okay? The Florida Bar makes us do that, so that way we don't lose our license, all right? So again, there are about 32.5 million small businesses in the United States right now. This is according to the Small Business Association, Small Business Administration, okay? But less than 1 million, actually less than 1 million of those businesses actually have a trademark. Let's let that marinate. 32.5 million businesses, but less than 1 million have a trademark, okay? So that means a lot of businesses, brands, and income producing ideas are up for grabs, okay? So again, yes, my name is Nequosha, and I want to make sure you understand that it's Nequosha with a quote, not anything else, not Nikisha or anything else. But I ultimately believe in order for you to scale your wealth, in order for you to secure your business, you must do so with a trademark, okay? There is no other strategy. There is no other course. There is no other speaking engagement. There is nothing else that you can do. Not even get on Elon Musk's rocket, okay, and the rocket ship, or get on Twitter, since he over there buying Twitter. None of that's going to help you unless you secure your income producing ideas, okay? So I have a little quick agenda, and I'm just going to really briefly go through it so we can have enough time for Q&A. I'm going to tell you what a trademark is, and I'm also going to tell you the 4 massive mistakes that entrepreneurs make when they are considering trademark protection, and some key solutions that you need to have in order to avoid these massive mistakes, all right? So the next thing is you're seeing a gentleman in a beautiful suit and a beautiful, beautiful red bow. This gentleman is my father. Now, you probably have seen me on Al Gore's internets before, because my voice is very prominent and I make sure I am seen and heard in every room I am in. But this gentleman right here on your screen is my late and great father. He passed away in January of this year, and he is the sole reason I became a lawyer, okay? The very sole reason, because he was in logistics. He was a trucker, and he had a really great lucrative contract with a Fortune 100 company. During that time, he lost the contract and they took things from him because he did not lock them in and secure them with an IP protection tool. It was me witnessing this of my father that motivated me, encouraged me to go out and do what I do right now, which is secure small businesses with their income producing ideas with a trademark, okay? So what exactly is a trademark? A trademark is a general word, phrase, symbol, or design that identifies and distinguishes a source of goods from one party of another. You can only get a federal registration in the United States from the United States Patent and Trademark Office. Do not let anybody else lie to you and tell you can just do it somewhere else. Now, there are registrations on the state level, but if you want federal protection, meaning you want protection in all 50 states of the United States of America, Craig, you have to get federal registration, okay? And what is appearing on your screen, for those who may not can see it, it is an actual picture of a registration certificate from the USPTO, all right? Next up, why should you trademark? Why should you trademark your brand? Why should you secure your income producing ideas? Number one, trademarks don't expire. Copyrights do. Copyrights are for the life of the author plus an extended period of years, depending on when your thing, your item, your idea was transfixed and published, okay? But I believe, if y'all remember back in the beginning, I said, I believe trademarks are one of the best IP protection tools because they do not expire, man. So long as you are continuing to use the trademark, it will not expire. I.e., think Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola was established in the early 1800s, and voila, it's still here because they are using that trademark. Number two, it makes it easier for your customers to find you. It makes it easier for your customers to find you. When they can see your brand or logo, they know that you are a trusted brand source. That brings us to number three. You are a trusted brand source. That means your good is going to be what they need, what they want, secure, lock, loaded. Your service will get them from point A to point B. So if they see someone with something that's competing or maybe a lookalike, copycat or whatever, they know it's not going to be the same. Also, having a trademark is an effective communication tool. It communicates you value your brand, you value your business, and you will do whatever you need to do to protect it, okay? And lastly, having a trademark, having a federal registration of a trademark is a valuable business asset. It actually increases the value of your business because when you go off into, I don't want to do this anymore, or I want to leave a legacy. Well, if you have secured your trademark for your brand and your business, you have just increased the value of your business, my friend. All right. But let's talk about how can you actually protect. Now, with a trademark, there are about 45 different classes of protection. I know this image is a little small, and if you are only listening to me, it outlines a breakdown of goods and services. There are 45 different classes. You may hear someone say classes. You may hear someone say areas of protection. All of these are classes that we have to define for your trademark application. So that means if you are Delta, that means you can have a Delta Airlines trademark, Delta Plumbing, Delta Faucets. All of these things are totally different, but they are the same. But the reason why they are different and the reason why they're both able to achieve federal trademark registration is because they're in different classes. Trademarks is determined by the different class that you are registered in. Now, if you got guap, you can register in all 45. And I really would love to know what you're doing to be in all 45, but that's neither here nor there. So there are two different paths to trademark registration. There are two different roads you can take to achieve trademark registration. The first road we like to call 1A. With a 1A, that means you are already using the trademark. So all you're going to have to do is lock in your priority date, pay your filing fee, show them that you're using it with a good specimen of use. And we can talk about that later. And you're already on track, my friend. That's the 1A route. Now, look, they always created alternatives no matter what road you take. There's more than one way to get to the destination, right? And if you live in the state of Florida, you know we got the Turnpike, I-75, I-4, and every toll road known to man. But the USPTO has something similar with 1B. It's an alternative road, okay? It's called intent to use. And the beauty of being on road 1B is that you are locking in your priority filing date. You are letting the USPTO know that I'm not using the trademark the way I want to. I don't really have a good specimen of proof, but I will have it. So that means you want to lock in your priority date, but understand if you do a 1B application, you will have additional fees when it is time for you to come up with that specimen, meaning show proof of usage, okay? Now, let's get into some of these mistakes that I told you I would talk about that entrepreneurs make when they are considering to do trademark protection, okay? Mistake number one, you have a great idea and you immediately start sharing that thing. You putting it everywhere. You telling Facebook, Instagram, Clubhouse. I mean, you is telling the world, everybody in the world. Why is this a mistake, Nequosha? This is a mistake because you have not secured your brand. You have not secured your income producing ideas, my friend. Sorry. And this is costly. Okay, let me tell you about a brand designer who I used to work with, and she worked with this big marketing company, and she was planning her exit, and she had came to me to strategize on what that would look like, and she told me about her business idea. She was locked, loaded, and ready. But what this client, we'll just call her Brittany, what Brittany failed to do was Brittany didn't lock the retainer agreement with me to file her trademark protection. And she went on Al Gore's internet, also known as Facebook, and started talking about her exit and how she had this new marketing strategy and this. But guess what? That Fortune 100 company went in and actually trademarked before she did. So Brittany lost out because Brittany started running her mouth and she talked too much. Don't let this be you. Mistake number two. Let's get into mistake number two. You start asking the world for their opinion. If these people are not a part of your board, if these people are not members of your limited liability company, you do not need to talk about anything with them. If you don't have a non-disclosure agreement, keep your mouth shut. Lock, load, zip, glue it, staple, whatever you got to do. Stop asking the world for their opinion. What does this look like, Nequosha, in real life? This looks like being in a Facebook group and you'll see the post. We've all seen the post of somebody saying, I'm thinking of naming my business. Boom, 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 boom. And then they start asking all these people's opinions about this. Let me tell you about the people in a lot of these Facebook and Instagram and Clubhouse streets. They steal. They will go and look and see whether or not you have actually secured your income producing idea and see that you have not done it and beat you to the punch. They will go in and take it from you. And listen, people will steal. And I want to leave you with this. If you don't remember nothing else I say, remember, it's not the first to create, it's the first to file. So that means even if you were the first person to come up with this beautiful idea or concept or whatever, if you don't file that thing, you're missing out. And remember, everyone remembers first place. Nobody remembers second. Now let's get into mistake number three. Mistake number three is, Nequosha, I can't do this. It's too expensive. I'm just starting my business, girl. I can't afford you. You cannot afford not to have me, okay? You cannot afford not to have me because can you afford a rebrand? Let's say someone actually took your income producing ideas and beat you to the punch. Can you afford a rebrand? I think not. So one of the first things you need to do after you establish your entity and get all that locked, loaded, and ready with an actual business lawyer and not just an accountant, you need to come see an intellectual property attorney so that way we can secure and make sure that what you intend to name your business is actually available. What you intend to name your course is available. What you intend to name your income producing idea is available, because I would hate to see you go and invest all this time, energy, money, blood, sweat, and tears at your kitchen table and you cannot move forward with it because someone else has already trademarked it. Okay. Now let's get into mistake number four. Mistake number four. My business don't need a trademark, Nequosha. My business does not need a trademark. I'm just a little person in the space. I'm just starting out. Nobody is worried about what I got going on in my business. You're lying to you. You're not lying to me because I know better. And the God that I serve has definitely informed me of different. So let me tell you the story of a wedding planner who went against the most powerful woman in entertainment. The most powerful woman in entertainment. She's also known as Blue Ivy's mama. Who am I referring to? Beyonce. Knowles Carter. Okay. When Blue Ivy was born, let me tell you a little story. When Blue Ivy was born in January of 2012, her mom and her team went in and started filing all types of trademark applications with the name Blue Ivy because they wanted to go ahead and lock in all the things that Blue Ivy and her brands and all that, because who was her mama? One of the biggest pop stars in the whole wide world, Craig. But what Blue Ivy and Beyonce's team failed to check on was the fact that there was already someone in the space named Blue Ivy Events. And this was owned by Veronica Morales. Veronica Morales owned an event planning agency, and she filed for trademark protection in 2009. Remember, I told you Blue Ivy wasn't born to 2012. Miss Veronica filed for trademark protection in 2009, which means she had superior trademark protection rights in the classes of event planning, which was also one of the things that Blue Ivy, Beyonce's team filed for Blue Ivy. All right. So that means this little business who went ahead and trademarked their business in 2009 had superior rights over the Beyonce. So you keep going ahead and thinking that your business is small and nobody's coming after you. Nobody wants you, right? Lies. You keep lying to yourself. Don't lie to me. Now, if you are liking what I am saying and you are telling me that there is a way that you want to learn about how you can protect your income producing idea, how you can protect your brand, how you can be like Veronica Mars and Morales and go up against Beyonce, then you just keep on keeping on, because this is the framework you need to know. This is what you need to always remember. First, you create the idea, you get proof of concept, then you move over to protect, okay? Then you move over to protect the idea. Then and only then do we share the income producing ideas. Do you understand? We create, we protect, and then we share. Now, because you are watching me, and if you are only listening, there is nothing that I can do, but I can try to put the link in the chat. If you are watching this, go ahead and pull out your smartphone and scan this QR code so you can book an entrepreneur mindset consultation with me. Because you are here and because this is a free event, I understand that we are living in hard times with this inflation. So I'm going to go ahead and reduce my standard $175 virtual consultation fee. Because you are here, you can get it for $75, but you need to scan this code and go to this link within the next 24 hours, because I'm turning it off, because my team is going to be like, what the heck are you doing, Nequosha? So I went ahead and put the link in the chat. So if someone wants it, you can have it, but you got 24 hours or this thing is going down off. Okay. So now I am part of my presentation where we are going to talk about preguntas. If you don't know, that's questions. All right. So if you got them, come on in. Let me know. So I'm going to stop this screen share. Let me stop it. I think I stopped it. All right. So you know about trademarks now?
Look, you have me in the backdrop just rolling. So Nequosha, thank you so much for giving us a good breakdown of what we need to know when it comes to trademark protection. What can someone expect in terms of fees? Because I know I see a lot of people with these little flat fees. I see people with hourly fees. I see people with it's going to be for the free 99 almost their pricing. But what's the real deal with the pricing when it comes to trademarks and copyright?
I will answer this, but you answer this for me. When the last time you got something for free that was good? When the last time you got something for free that was so good, it transformed your entire life? Never, ever, ever. Absolutely. And I've been in business for a long time. I correct a lot of the entrepreneurs and the trademark mill people that you may see on your Instagram or Facebook feed because they run a lot of ads. I correct a lot of those trademark applications. Nothing that cheap will ever move your business forward. I'm not saying you got to go pay $5,000, $10,000, but it is a substantial investment. My trademark applications are a 4-figure investment. However, you will get to leverage my knowledge, get to leverage the fact that I'm completing it for you, and get to know all of these beautiful types of things. I do see someone that has already booked a call with me for Thursday. So we'll definitely talk about it because you came in after the special, but we can definitely talk about it and see what we can do for you, Anastasia. All right. But ultimately, that $99 flat fee or whatever is literally, they're not helping you craft and understand the classes for your custom business. They're not helping you anyway if you get an office actions. Office actions is how the USPTO communicates that something is wrong with your trademark application. So if you don't know any of these things, you don't know nothing about classes, and also if you don't hear and listen to nothing else, do not design your logo in Canva. You can't trademark it. You cannot trademark a logo from Canva. So if you have a practitioner who doesn't even ask you where you sourced your logo, who your designer is, run, Forrest. Run far, far away. Grow wings and fly. Go away.
I can't with you, Nequosha, today.
It's the truth. Sandy, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We have a lot of practitioners who will pop up in space because they feel it's lucrative, but they're not as knowledgeable. Nothing against them. I clean up a lot of their mistakes, and I'll leave it at that.
Thank you so much for that, Nequosha.
Yeah,
I am sure some people will be reaching out to you. Again, the link is in the chat, 24 hours only. This is Nequosha Anderson, Esquire, trademark attorney. Please take a picture of the screen, receive her contact information. There's a quickie question in the chat. And if my branding specialist makes logos in Canva, do I fire them?
I mean, I wouldn't fire them, but I know you can't trademark. So you can use it for marketing purposes, but you cannot trademark those things, okay? That goes against their licensing agreement. So that thing that nobody reads, actually, you need to read it. Well, pay someone like me to read it. How about that?
There you have it, guys. Thank you so much, Nequosha Anderson, for allowing us to share your space. We truly appreciate you. I am certain there will be some folks reaching out to you. Here's her contact information. And we look forward to having Nequosha back with us again soon. Thank you.
All right. Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Attorney Anderson.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So we are going to go to our next entrepreneur mindset tip, and we have two of them. Understand the power of your brand and focus your energy on what's good for your business. This is from Small Business Trends. And now I'm going to go right on back to Miss Lisa so that we can introduce our next speaker.
Thank you, Sandy B. That was awesome. So our next speaker is just as awesome. We have Dr. Chetachi Egwu, and she is going to speak with us about social media. She is a digital creator. And if you don't know what that is, we're going to find out all about it. Dr. Egwu, how are you?
I am fantabulous. How are you both?
Thank you. We're great as well.
Good.
I love the energy tonight. Thank you so much, Dr. Tachi.
Look, this is me all day, every day. So if somebody is offended by energy, you might want to log off now. But, you know.
All right, Dr. Tachi, it's on you.
It's on you.
Okay, fantastic. Well, welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. As they said, as you can see, my name is Chetachi Egwu, but people call me Dr. Tachi. That is actually my brand. Even though I'm not a branding expert, everybody knows me as Dr. Tachi. That was something that people my name is Tachi, my nickname. People kept calling me, well, Dr. Tachi. I'm like, you don't have to do that. And they said, no, let us give the honor to you. You work it fine. I'm Dr. Tachi. And you know what? I'm leaning into it. So that became my brand. So, but we're not here to talk about that, ladies and gentlemen. We are here to talk all about social media and what we could do in 15 minutes. So I'm actually going to start my timer so that I don't go over, because I tend to go over if not stopped. So I'm going to stop me before others stop me. So what are we going to talk about today? We're actually going to talk about a few things. And my specialty in terms of social media is really working with video. Video is critically important. And if you're not using video in your social media strategy, you need to start. There are so many ways to do it, and we're going to talk about that today. And hopefully I'll be able to share my screen with you so you can see some examples of some of the things I'm talking about. So let's talk about social media in general. Social media is social media because it's social. At the crux of the whole thing, social media is about forming communities. And too many of us, especially those of us that are in business, see social media as a means to an end, meaning to make money. Yes, it can be a way to monetize, but why would I buy anything from you if I don't know, like, and trust you? You haven't tried to draw me into your community. You haven't tried to make me a part of your tribe. I'm not buying anything from you. See, that's just the way I think, but I know there are other people who think the same way. Just the same way. So I do a live stream show every week, and my big thing is to make sure that I draw people in, that I tell them, hey, Anna, thank you so much for being here. Anna, all the way from upstate New York. I know where they're from and I know their names. It makes them feel special. It makes them feel like they are part of the tribe. In fact, I've given them a name, the Mediascope Massive. That puts a name to it. So they're like, they come into the chat and they're like, what's up, Mediascope Massive? Because I formed a tribe. And because of that, they're willing to follow me off of social media as well. So it's important to cultivate a tribe on social media, get to know the people, and then at the end of the day, you really need to have a way to connect with them off of social media, because these platforms are not loyal, or these witches aren't loyal. Therefore, they can and will fail you. Remember when Facebook and Instagram had that huge shutdown and everybody's like, oh Lord, the world is ending. It ended for you because you didn't have a way to connect with your audience off of Instagram or Facebook. But if you had something like an email list, if you had something like an app where you're already cultivating them, or you're using some of these other, there's one that starts with an M and it's escaping me now, but you're cultivating communities in other places, you don't have that problem. So these are the things you need to think about. Social media is great. Use them because they're free. And when I say free, nothing is ever really free, but for all intents and purposes, let's say you don't have to exchange money for them. So they're free, but know that don't rely on that as your sole means. Use that in tandem with some other ways to connect with your audience. So at the core, social media is about being social. The second thing about that is, are you connecting with your audience outside of that, or going into their live? For example, they have a live. Are you going to their live videos? Are you making comments underneath their posts, right? It's reciprocal as well. There's nothing worse than, now I know you can't sit there, especially if you have a large following, you can't sit there and go to everybody's lives. You can't do all of this, but let me tell you, I really make it my business. If I see somebody going live that's part of the tribe, I make it my business to be there so they can see my face. I may not be able to do it all the time, but that's my way of letting them know I appreciate you for being a part of my tribe and I value you. So I'm coming into your live, or I am going to make a comment on your post. It's reciprocal. So remember that as well. You don't have to do everyone, but make an effort to do so. All right, video is key. I have already said that video is the key. So here's the thing. Sometimes people get stuck on what to talk about, right? So you don't know what to say in a video. And as I said, videos get a lot of engagement with the advent of things like Reels, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, even Snapchat, right? People are watching video, and you're going to get more engagement on a video than you probably would with any other type of content, unless of course you're a celebrity. So why not use that to your advantage, right? Video is absolutely key. So what do you talk about there? Well, I give some tips. I do this series called Be More Stronger, Better, Wiser, right? So I teach people how to be better with video and live streaming. So I did one particular one where I addressed, if you're stuck on things, guess what? You buy things every day, right? This is just, for example, if you're just trying to become a social media personality, for example, or even if you have products to sell, what can you do? You can do an unboxing. That is a perfect way. And with unboxings, the cool thing is you don't necessarily have to be inside the video. You can turn the camera around and do your unboxing that way. And that's helpful if you're apprehensive about being in videos. That it's very helpful to do, and it also helps. So reviews, unboxings, but unboxings are great because you don't necessarily have to be in the video. Are there products that you use that are relevant to your business that you want to talk to others about in an honest way? You don't always have to get paid for everything. It's helpful if they're sponsoring you, but if not, and you're giving an honest review, do a review. That's content, right? So we're building all sorts of different content, and it should not just be about your business, meaning sell, 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 get people on board, get people on board. It also needs to be a little bit about who you are as a person. Remember, know, like, and trust. So if I know you and I like you, I'm probably going to trust you and bring other things to the table in terms of buying. So you have a dog or you have a cat. You know how many people love animal content? On my way to the post office to mail a package, and I'm taking Woof Woof with me, whatever your dog's name is, right? That's perfect content. Whenever you are somewhere, think about how can I repurpose this as content? That doesn't mean leave the moment or get lost in the moment of whatever it is, but figure out a way, how can I repurpose this as video content for whatever my channel is? So things to think about. In terms of if you're stuck on what to talk about, also make a list of things. That list will help you because you'll be able to go back to. Think about your interests. Think about your audience's interests as well, which often has overlap. Think about your product or service and how you could do that. You don't want a full channel full of just one of these things, because if your whole channel is full of you and your dog, and you do not have a dog walking service or whatever the case may be, then they get lost in the other content and forget about what it is. So 80-20 rule, we all know that 80% giving value, 20% should be actual selling. Okay, so that's something to think about. So now let's talk about actually, you've got what you're going to talk about, right? You've sat, this is another thing, sit and watch and wait and see what's happening in the space. What are people talking about? And how can I add value to the space that is different from what everybody else is doing? How do I stand out? Once you figure that out, then it's time to, all right, here we go. Now we actually need to shoot the video. What the heck are we shooting the video on? Well, it could be something as simple as let me reach and get my cell phone, right? Most smartphones have decent cameras nowadays. I have to say, Apple is getting better, but I have always been a fan of the Samsung cameras. To me, they are just better. I am a filmmaker and videographer in addition to doing all of this. So I see the value, but guess what? Apple is the iPhone is coming close on its heels, but if you have a modern smartphone, you are going to be able to shoot some great high definition video. And in a lot of cases, you're also going to be able to shoot 4K. You're not going to need 4K for social media, just to let you know. Most of it is going to be in what's called 1080p, that's the resolution, or sometimes it's downgraded to 720p. So if you're sitting there trying to shoot things in 4K, it's not needed, it's unnecessary. So don't worry about that. So camera, it could be as simple as your cell phone. Start there. Start with your cell phone. And then you can get better with other things like a webcam. If you're doing something like this, that's a talking head. You could use what's called a DSLR or mirrorless. If you look at me now and you see how good the picture looks, it's because I'm using a mirrorless camera coupled with an encoder, which lets me go straight into my computer using a professional camera. So once you get better at it, you can get to this level, but you could start with your phone. My motto is start where you are. Of course, you're going to need a stabilizer. Get yourself a tabletop tripod, right? Or some sort of tripod that will stabilize it. A gimbal will work as well, right? So you don't want to be, the worst thing is to have people getting seasick because you're shaking all over the place, okay? We don't need that. So get stable. Make sure you have a tripod or gimbal of some type. So then let's talk a little bit about lighting. We don't have a lot of time, so I'm trying to squash some things in. Let's talk a little bit about lighting. You see how good my lights look? I think they look good because I'm using LED panel lights. Forget the damn ring light. We're not doing ring lights in 2022. Why? Ring lights leave a ring in your eyes or your glasses, and it lets people know they're using a ring light. Think about it. Have you ever gone to a professional studio and they're using ring lights? Ring lights are great. Makeup artists use them. They're made for specific purposes. Now, if that's what you have, start with that. You can even get even less fancy. You have some lamps, take the shades off of that and play around with it so you don't get shadows. So good lighting is key. Well, I'm not going to go into the different types of lighting, but know that if I can't see you, there's no need for me to watch you. So think about the lighting. And then sound. If you see right here, I have a microphone, an external microphone. Don't ever rely on the sound from your phone or from the camera alone. You need a great external microphone. What I'm using is actually the Samson Q2U. It is a fantastic podcasting microphone, but it also works for this type of thing as well. So you should be able to hear me nice and clearly and resonantly. So that you want that profession. There's other types you could get as well. A lavalier mic. There are this is a dynamic mic. So I actually have my very loud air condition on in the background, and you probably can barely hear it because a dynamic mic will blank out every sound. Okay. So why am I telling you all of this? Because this comes to making perfection for social media. So you've got camera, lighting, sound. Think about your background setting. This is my living room. You may not have a living room like this, but think about setting with intention. What is going to look good? If you don't have a green screen and you don't know how to use it, I would skip anything green screen because you're going to fade in and out of the background. The best thing is I am more in favor of making a beautiful set and going with that, because green screen actually takes some skill. Professionals even mess that up. So determine where your videos live best, where the best thing is going to be for them. If you're doing long form, maybe YouTube is the way to go, especially if you already have an audience over there. Think about where your audience is and how you can draw them in. Now, that doesn't mean if you just started a TikTok, don't bother, or you haven't done it, don't bother with TikTok. But think about where the best use of your time is going to be. As business owners, we tend to be very busy, and sometimes it doesn't always work to repurpose one video for every single platform. There are time limits, etc. So think about what's going to be the best use of your time. What are you? Are you a long form or short form or a mixture of both? And then plan accordingly. So what you need to do is use the tools that are out there. Reels, definitely use. TikTok, if you're on TikTok, definitely use. Why? Because that's a way for your information to get in front of more people. So you definitely should be using Reels. If you're on TikTok, use TikTok. If you're already on YouTube and you have an audience, use the YouTube Shorts. That's a way of getting more. The more content you have, the more the algorithms will push you out there, and the more regularly that you do it. Also, you can schedule your stuff. Something is scheduled like Buffer or Hootsuite, right? Later, there are so many different schedulers that you can use. Monday.com, I believe, is a whole productivity thing, but they also have a scheduler. So think about that definitely. So I want to show you some examples of, or an example, because we only have like about a minute left. So I want to show you an example of something that I did. Let's share. And I am going to share screen, and let's share a window. Let's see. Okay. Oh, is it not? It's not sharing for some reason. Is it? I don't know if you got the share request. Let me see. No.
Dr. Touch, we may not have. Apologize if we didn't.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Don't worry. Don't worry. I didn't mean to make you come back on screen. I didn't mean to make you come back on screen. Let's see. I'm going to try it again. And if not, we'll skip it. And then I will just go to questions, because I want to show you at least one if I can. Let's see. Let's see. Let's go with, let's go with this one. Let's see. Share. Oh, for some reason it doesn't have permission to share my screen. That's what it's saying. Okay, so we are going to skip that, and I'm going to direct you to my social media feed. My favorite social media is Instagram. I don't know if it's my favorite, but I use Instagram a lot. So at the just like my name at Dr._Tachi, and you can see a lot of examples of what you can do with your social media. And now I can open the phone open up for questions, because I'm sure Miss Sandy, she said take my time, but I like to be on time. The what's name went off, so.
So I'm going to go ahead and give you one of the questions I see here. Should we be prioritizing reels on Instagram over posts?
I would not say to prioritize anything over anything. I will say this. You get a 2-for with reels, right? Because what happens is when you create a reel, you can choose to have it in your feed. So the people that normally follow you are going to see it in your feed anyway. And the cool thing is that you also get lots of other people who may not follow you looking at your reels, especially if you're using popular sounds. And I'm not saying you always have to do that, because it's like what happens is sometimes with those popular sounds is if they decide that it's no longer available, then you have no sound on your reel. So I'm like, that's not always a danger. But if you go back through your reels, or if you're on TikTok, you probably will notice some videos that have absolutely no sound and you have no clue why. That's because the sound is not available anymore. So be careful with that. Stick to using the sound of your voice, or things that are royalty free. Sometimes the popular ones are good, but you can run into that problem. So the answer to that is I would use reels, because you can post it as a post, but you also need some regular posts that the people who follow you are going to see as well. So I would say do both.
Thank you. Are there any other questions that we have right there?
Here's another one. In short, because I know this could be an in-depth question, but what is the best hashtag strategy? That's a good one.
It's a really good one. And the answer is there is no best hashtag strategy. And I'm sure that's not what you wanted to hear. The thing is that all of these platforms keep changing what works, what happens. Now, if you remember, Instagram, at one point, you are allowed 30 hashtags, for example, on Instagram, right? There's no limit on Facebook, although they're not as effective on Facebook. Twitter is where hashtags originated, but you only have 280 characters in one post to get that in. So you have to be very brief. So the best thing is to have hashtags that are related to what you're going to do, but not so specific that there are not enough people following it to make a difference, but not so broad either that when you put it up, it's going to be one of 500 million. And that can happen sometimes. So if you are a realtor, so like Lisa, if you're a realtor, you don't want to just put realtor, right? It's going to be maybe realtors of Instagram or realtors of South Florida. Make it a little bit more specific or more niche so that you can get the most bang for your hashtag. So again, Instagram also then came back and said, okay, well, it's more effective if you use no more than, I think it's 7 hashtags. But you said, so at first it was since you have 30 hashtags, use all 30. But then it became, well, it's more effective if you use 7. So here's the thing. You have to study and learn on your own. There's no necessarily best time of day. There are estimated best time of day. The best time of day is when your audience is online. Not when mine is, when yours is online. The best hashtag strategy is the strategy that you see that works. You can also look up these things and see where go to search, put in the hashtag and see where yours ranks. See if it pops up. So hopefully that helped.
Yes. I have one quick last question from me. What is unboxing? I missed that. I'm sure were you talking about unboxing or unwrapping a gift?
Unboxing, like you get something in from something that you ordered, and you wait to unbox it on camera so everybody can experience that with you. I'm actually getting ready to do some unboxing because I got in a drone and I got in a new gimbal. So I'm like dying to open it, but I'm like, no, I'm going to do it on camera because that's content.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Dr. Chetachi Egwu, digital creator. And if people want to reach you for your consulting services, there she is right there. There's her email. And as she stated, she is on Instagram, and that's where you mainly can find her. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm everywhere, but for some reason I'm on Instagram all the time. So
thank you so much. We definitely
Thank
appreciate you being a part of this presentation this evening.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you very
All
much.
righty. So that's Dr. Egwu. And we now have another tip for you, a couple of them. Entrepreneur mindset tip: never lose focus of your vision and use networking to build your business. Smallbiztrends.com. And now we're going to turn it back over to Sandy to introduce our next presenter.
So we've been having a pretty good time. Dr. Tachi, dynamic, love attorney Anderson, Michelle Austin Pamies. We've had some great speakers so far. At this time, we're going to move on to our next speaker, but I want to remind you, please be sure that you are clicking like, subscribing to our channel.
Yes,
we are here at LearnBiz, the podcast. We appreciate your support. Those of you that have been watching this whole time, we truly, truly appreciate you. Feel free to put your comments, questions, or even shameless plugs in the chat. We appreciate each and every one of them. So I'm going to move on now to our next speaker, who is in the building. We are going to be talking about branding next. And this gentleman has been on our podcast. He has shared some really great words of wisdom. And so we definitely want to make sure that we bring him up to share his information on branding. So we have Harry Joseph. All right, let me see here. I don't know if I can hear Harry. Let me see. All right, Harry, let us know if we can hear us.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes,
all
we
right,
can hear
so
you.
let me go ahead and get Harry in the building.
Can you see me?
We cannot see you at this point in time.
Because I got my camera on, and that's the money. The money is in the face, so I'm trying to make sure you can see me, not just hear me. I want to give them the benefit of what they saw on the flyer. You know, I don't want to disappoint. You know?
Look, Harry, I'm going to let you go ahead and get started while you're dealing with your camera, but I'm going to go ahead and allow people to see your information. So this is Harry Joseph. He is a branding consultant. You can find him at harambe1906.com. And we're going to go ahead and let Harry get started. So even if the visual doesn't come on, Harry, you can go ahead.
So first and foremost, I apologize if you're not able to see me, but please enjoy the picture of me because it is me, no catfishing. So here's the thing. We've learned about how to form a business, how to protect your business, how to market your business. As a brand consultant, my focus is how to distinguish your business. Your brand tells the consumer who you are and why you even matter to begin with. And I think oftentimes many people, when they say, okay, I want to have a business, they feel like, okay, I have a logo, that should be sufficient. I have a website, that should be sufficient. But that's so far beyond what makes a brand a brand. Branding in and of itself is the process of curating or cultivating a desired emotional response with regards to a good or service towards your potential consumer. So I'll make sure I make that clear. Branding very much so is how you woo your consumer. It's very much so how you date your consumer, so to
All right, looks like we're having a little bit of technical difficulty. Harry, let me know if you can hear me now. Something seemed to have gone out. All right, bear with us, folks. I know some folks are in the chat. Thank you so much, Dr. Tachi, for joining us in the stream. Harry, can you hear me still?
I can hear you.
Okay, go ahead. All right, guys, you know how this goes. Sometimes we have to deal with technical difficulties, but we will not delay. I'm going to allow Harry to come back in just a moment. It looks like he's having a little bit of trouble right now. Just a couple of reminders tonight. You are listening to Learn Biz, the podcast. I am one half of Learn Biz, the podcast. I'm going to bring Lisa back on up here, and we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of an intermission.
Yes, just a brief one.
Want to share a couple of things with you guys because we have some really amazing guests coming up on the podcast. So I wanted to give you that save the date right now so you do not miss these guests. This Friday, we have Jonathan Cyprian. He is an NFL veteran. Look him up. Full name, Jonathan Cyprian. He's an NFL veteran and he is a real estate investor. So he has taken his experience in the NFL and transitioned that into the real estate industry. And that is a really great thing. And he's going to be helping a lot of up and coming athletes as he works through another project. So he's going to be sharing that with us on Friday. We're also going to have TV host and attorney Suzette Speaks. Please, if you do not follow this young lady on YouTube, she has a phenomenal channel. She talks about professional development, personal development. She hits a lot of the hot topics, and she's just a joy to listen to. We also have Mistress of Ceremonies, the very one and only Crystal Chanel, coming to us on the 20th. As well, we have a date coming up for Miss Kristen Kitchen. She's with the Dunn's Josephine Hotel. She is the owner and operator. And Lisa, tell us a little bit about Miss Kristen Kitchen, because I know that you interviewed her recently.
Yes, she's an awesome young lady who started investing very early, but by profession, she is a historian. And so she has sought out properties across the country that have historical significance to African Americans. And so she purchased two hotels in Overtown. One was the Dunn's Hotel and one was the Josephine Hotel. Both have historic Black significance, and she put them together. And now we have in Overtown, Miami, Florida, the Dunn's Josephine Hotel, which is basically a tribute to the Harlem Renaissance. So you'll see those themes all throughout the hotel. And I hope we will all support this sister as she's working on projects across the country while she's building her brand.
So we remind you each and every time that we come on here that LearnBiz, the podcast, is the home of the Black entrepreneur. And we share a lot of different entrepreneurial experiences through different industries. So I'm going to bring back Harry. I think you are back, right, Harry?
Yes, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Awesome. Yes, we can.
We can hear you.
I'm going to give you the floor.
Can you see me, though?
We cannot.
Okay.
We see the blackness.
Okay, well, there you go. There you go.
That's a good one.
All right. I appreciate that. But I want to make sure you all catch the essential points, right? So
Gotcha.
I'm going to discuss, and I know where we left off prior to technical difficulties, but again, a brand in and of itself tells the consumer who you are and why you matter. So discussing branding or discussing a brand, I wanted to go into three key components of what makes a brand, a brand. So first, it's in and of itself is branding. Branding in and of itself is that emotional response that is intentionally curated by a company for not only its benefit, but the consumer as well. Okay, so that speaks to the emotion of the consumer. That speaks to the emotion of the consumer. What product packaging are you using? What color psychology is involved? When you think of a brand, say of a food brand, if it's something that's supposed to be hot and tasty, they use reds. If it's supposed to be healthy, they use greens. That's all intentional. That goes into branding. Your brand.
Okay, we're having a little trouble today, right? All right, Harry, let me know if you can still hear. I'm going to bring Lisa back up here. And we're going to try to make do. This is what entrepreneurs have to do, right?
Absolutely. These are some of the changes that are challenges and things that we go through with the live stream. With a live stream, you don't have second chances to get it right. It kind of is what it is. So that's okay. But we heard some tidbits. And I like what he was talking about branding, like keeping in mind your colors and how colors translate. I have heard that before. I've heard that red is a color that is used to kind of, for appetite, to whet the appetite. And so I like what he said about green and the color green, healthy. And what was the other color he mentioned?
Wait, what other color?
I think he mentioned another, like how colors connote different things to consumers. So I like what he was beginning to talk about there. But we might have to move on. And if we have some time to bring Harry Joseph back in, maybe after we continue on with our next speakers, we'll do that.
Okay.
Because we'd love to hear what he has to say, but I think we need to move on.
All right, awesome. So we're going to move on to our next entrepreneur mindset tips. Keep control of your vision and give without expecting a return. Again, this is from Small Business Trends. We found a series of tips on this website that we truly thought would be helpful to you as an entrepreneur. So we hope you're enjoying that aspect. I'm going to send it back to Lisa to introduce our next speaker. But again, please click like, click subscribe. Please share this video. We appreciate your support of LearnBiz, the podcast.
All right. And Dr. Tachi has me feeling all funny about my ring light and background, but we're going to ignore that for now and just keep going. Okay. Our next presenter is Ms. Juliana Kennedy. Juliana Kennedy is an accountant and CPA. She is going to be speaking with us about accounting and bookkeeping. She'll introduce herself and give you some of those basics that we all need to know about accounting and bookkeeping in business. Miss Juliana Kennedy, welcome to the show.
All right, let me see.
Yes, I got it now. Hello.
Hey, how are you? Welcome.
Amazing, amazing. Yes, I'm doing well. So I'm Juliana Kennedy. I'm a licensed certified public accountant, both in Canada and the United States. Currently, I reside in Chicago. I run my practice out of here. And my team and I, we help clients around the country. And so what I find that everybody wants to pay less taxes, and yet people do not keep track of their books until April 1st before they scramble to get it all in. So I'm here to tell you the key to paying less taxes is staying on top of your books year round. It's not just a one-time thing. And so with that said, you need a good accounting system. There are tons of them out there, but my go-to and my preference is QuickBooks Online. Not the desktop, because the online one, you can be shopping, you can scan in your receipt so you don't lose any deduction. You can connect your bank accounts, you can connect all your credit cards. It's going to help you. And if you don't know how to use it, it pays to go to a training, a webinar. Myself, I host it. I've even pre-recorded it for people so that people can know how to post these transactions. And also my recommendation is stay on top of your books. If you can do weekly or even at least at the bare minimum once a month, you have to get your books in order. And so with that, if you don't have time to do it, I suggest you hire a bookkeeper. You can keep your costs down. You can hire a CPA, but it might be costly for you. So if you don't have the time to learn how to do it yourself, you can hire a bookkeeper to do that. Just 1 second. And so you can hire a bookkeeper to do it, or if you have children in the house, you can also bribe them, which I did for most of my children, to help you with the bookkeeping aspect of it. The next thing I'm going to suggest is that after staying on top of your books, there's something called reconciliation. The reconciliation is that matching whatever downloads from the bank account or your credit cards to what the bank statement is saying. Believe it or not, QuickBooks is not perfect. Sometimes it doubles the transactions that it downloads, or sometimes it doesn't download it at all. So if you do not compare the two, one, you could be overpaying in taxes because it did not download all your expenses. Or two, it doubled your revenue, so you are overpaying. So I can't stress that enough. The reconciliation process is important. If you don't know, once again, pay somebody to teach you how to do it. So every single month, you need to reconcile your books. Also, look at your finances. See how the revenues are coming in, the sources of revenue, which area of your business is bringing in the most. You can meet regularly with your accountant and then go over the numbers, brainstorm with them. Sometimes we can suggest to you which areas that are bringing the most money, so you need to pay more attention there. But a lot of people, I find that they wait once a year before they see the accountant. You should never do that. This is how people fail. And so you need to stay on top of your numbers, do it monthly. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about also, and I know we have 15 minutes, so I got to keep my eye on the time. The entity type, the lady before talked about all the formations and the taxation of it. What I want to add is that the entity type that you're going to have is going to depend on your income level. Okay, and also your sources of income. Are you getting capital gains from your investments? Do you have rental properties? Because the depreciation is going to make you owe less taxes. So whether you want to be a C corporation or S corporation or sole proprietor or what have you, you need your accountant on board. So it's best to have the accountant and the lawyer communicating so that we can make sure that we get you in the right entity type so that you can minimize the tax at all costs. I'll give you an example. If, say, you own your own property and it's a rental, you could easily put it into a C Corp where you are being paid, you are going to pay 21%. But if you keep it under your own name or even under LLC, you're talking is coming to add on top of whatever income that you have. So therefore, you could be paying 40%. So it pays to speak to a professional before you choose the entity. A lot of people are telling people, get an LLC, and then they also tell you, go get an S corporation. S corporation has a lot of rules when it comes to taxation. You got to be careful with that. The S corporation, once you get S corporation, you are forced to do payroll. You cannot just take money whenever you want. It's very, very strict. And the second thing is that once you even take payroll, they tell you, oh yeah, you can take distribution. But let me tell you, you cannot take distribution if you are not paying yourself payroll. And so you need to be very, very careful with these entities. Don't just choose just any entity by being cheap and just saying, I'm going to do it myself, because it could cost you a lot of penalties and interest with the IRS. And trust me, they don't want to abate anything. And so that would be my 2 cents to that. And I don't know how long I've been going, but let me look at the time, make sure that I'm on task here. So the last thing I'm going to talk about is after you've made sure that you have the right accounting system, you make sure you have the right entity type for your income, and also get help if you need it. So I'm just going to keep myself brief so that I can answer as many questions as possible. So Sandy, let me know if anybody has questions.
All right. I think, thank you, Juliana. We want to move this around so you're kind of center stage there.
Mhm.
Yes, that was great. Let's see if we have any questions over here. I don't see any in the chat, but one of the questions I wanted to ask you about is if a person may not be able to hire both a bookkeeper and an accountant, should they hire one or prioritize one over the other?
Yes. And so myself, I'm a licensed CPA. So what I tend to do is I have programs where I will train you as the business owner so you can do yourself, so you can keep your costs down. I don't know about other CPAs, but personally, I prefer I train you so you can keep your costs down, so you can learn. There are courses out there. I have them all under julianakennedy.cpa.com. I have set something called DIY bookkeeping support. And so you can do it yourself. And then on a monthly basis, I meet with you for 1 hour on Zoom, and then I clean the books. I work with you and say, this should go here, this should go here. This is where you are spending too much money. Let's do this and that. So I have all that system in place. I don't know about anybody, but I can speak for myself. I like to empower people to do things for themselves and save money.
I love that. And while I'm not asking you about your specific cost, but can you give some range of what the services would cost for these monthly accounting services that you offer?
Yeah, the DIY bookkeeping support is $300 a month for the 12-month commitment. And then if you only want 3 months commitment, it's $500 for 3 months, and that's it. And then 6 months is like $400 because then, after that, you can go your way. There's no commitment after that. But most people are opting for the 12-month. And also they get 50% off for my other services like the tax preparation and everything. If they want me to do, they get 50% if they have the DIY bookkeeping support. And it's all under my website, julianakennedycpa.com. The tab for small business, I have all those pre-recorded boot camps. I have so many boot camps I've done since January. It's all pre-recorded. You can watch it at your own time. It's all about empowering people.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anything additionally, Sandy?
I don't see anything else. You know what? Let me ask this question. Many times people think that they can kind of do it themselves when it comes to dealing with things like the taxes, the accounting, and bookkeeping. What suggestion would you have for entrepreneurs who are thinking about their options in terms of what works best for them?
So I'll say you can speak to somebody, pay them the consultation, and then get some insights on what to do. I know TurboTax, you can do your own taxes. They have this accountant support. I don't use them, so personally, I don't know. But I would rather use a professional and pay the professional if I need legal stuff. I'm definitely not going to do it myself because the cost at the end of it may be too high. So just talk to the person and say, can you just give me a consultation on what I'm supposed to do? They'll be more than happy to walk you through and then do it yourself. But don't do it yourself from the get-go because it will cost you more in the end.
Definitely. Thank you, Miss Juliana Kennedy. She is a CPA, and thank you for sharing all of the wealth of information that you have with us this evening.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All righty. And so now we're going to give you another tip or two. And this one is always maintain quality control and set your product apart. smallbiztrends.com. I'm going to turn it back over to Sandy B to introduce our next presenter.
All right, we have somehow come to the end of our program. If Harry is able to join us back, he will, and we'll try to get him on to finish his thoughts. But it's not even a last but not least, because this speaker right here, Dr. Tasha, is going to share with us some things to nourish our spirits. We had her as a guest on a previous episode of our podcast. And when I tell you, that was probably one of my favorite episodes because she really broke down some things that hit home. So thank you so much, Dr. Tasha. Please come on up and introduce yourself. Uh-oh, you're on mute. Let me see. I can't hear you just yet.
Okay, let's try this again.
There we go. Thank you, Dr. Tasha. Go
Hi,
ahead.
Dr. Tasha.
Hey, y'all, what's going on? What's going on? Okay, so let's get started. So, hi, everyone. I'm not going to talk much about who I am. I would like you to just experience what I do, and then you would want to know who I am. My brand is called Drive-By Therapy. Hopefully, you can feel the reason why I call it that within the next 15 minutes. I like to kind of hit things hard. I like to get to the core issues quickly. Yeah, wow, that's a really big face that I have there right there on my screen, but that's all right. We're going to keep going. So yes, let's start with the first thing I had in mind for us to say out loud. Okay, you ready? I want you to think about this. Okay, if you can actually respond to me, I would have loved that, but I understand this platform doesn't allow that. So say out loud, if you can, wherever you're sitting or listening, I want you to say, I am lacking nothing. I am lacking nothing. Okay. And then I want you to actually realize the reason why I'm asking you to say this is because people wished that they had your problems. Okay. People wished that they had your entrepreneurial problems, your family problems, your social problems, your health problems. It's a real thing. And the reason why I am saying this is because there's a point in mental health where you can become free once you start to learn how to accept the challenges in your life. Y'all got that? So we're going to start with I am lacking nothing. All right. So close your eyes now. Close your eyes and think about the facts. All right. I guess I can't do that. But yes, I want you to close your eyes and think about the very business that you started 5 years ago, 5 months ago, 5 days ago. I don't know how recent. We got some entrepreneurs on here. 20 years ago. Think about this, that this actually used to be your dream. Like this right here. Like all the problems that are going on. You know, I get that you didn't dream this part up, but this is actually a part of it. You're actually already living the dream. So this will help you if you can listen to why I'm saying this. It is possible that even though you are drowning in the things that should be happening right now in your business, right? The shoulds. I should have more clientele. I should have better contracts. There's another one that I've heard the other day. I should make more content, right? So there's all these shoulds. And these shoulds actually fuel your depressive thinking patterns. Okay. So you literally are possibly more anxious or more depressed because you are struggling with all the shoulds in your life. Now, what would happen if it's just like, and then I need to do that versus what I should have done? Now, a lot of you guys have a lot of shoulds in your life of I should have married a different person, or I should have moved when I got that one job, or I should have went to a different school. Like the shoulds in life, literally in your mind, you think that they're helping you, but they're not. They're actually taking away from the idea that you still have more time left to get it right. Like literally, you have more time to get this right. Okay, let's go to another one. Here's another one. Ambition can be a disease. Now, why do you say that, Dr. Tasha? Because let me tell you a little something. I will never forget. I'm sitting in this suite. Me and my husband were at a suite. We were invited to a suite at the Dolphin Stadium while the game was going on, Miami Dolphins. And so there's like all these like NFL retired players and millionaires. They were all sitting at this table. And I was just, listening. And all I could hear was how much they were talking about making more money. Like everybody wants to make more money. And all I could think was like, I sat there for like 17 seconds quiet because it was difficult because I was actually bothered. I was really bothered. Like I literally thought to myself, aren't these all millionaires? And like what? So I said, just a question for you guys. Aren't you guys already making the money? So why are we talking about how to make more money? And they said, sometimes when you hit your first million, then you think about how easy you got to that. And so you want to get the next one. And so I asked them, I said, well, then are you ever satisfied? Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I said. Because the truth is, some folks, you chasing this whole bag. I'm so over that phrase. I'm so over that phrase. Let me pull it back. Like my throat starts itching when I think about the phrase of chasing the bag. At some point, when you become effective in what you do, the bag is going to call you. Okay. And yes, it might take 2 or 3 or 5 years to get to that, but the chase sounds hella exhausting to me, but that's just, it's just the way my brain thinks. But I really did ask them. So for you that are listening and you're like, literally, number one, you're already living the dream. Number two, yes, you're hella ambitious. So once you get to this one goal that you meet, you're not actually going to stop and smell the entrepreneurial roses. You're going to actually think to yourself how you need to be better, which mental health wise, I don't know how, productive that is in terms of all this self-criticism that you got going on in your head. Like it's a real thing called negative self-talk, meaning that you're never, ever getting to the place to maybe be proud of yourself. Now you can grind, but you can grind with gratitude, right? And you can grind and be proud of yourself. But like this whole idea of getting to somewhere, and then you actually, once you get there, you're like still like, what's next? And it's because you possibly are trying to fill an emotional void with money. And as you see that it's not working. So then that's where I come in. I'm a doctor of clinical psychology. You wouldn't even got to call me, call somebody that will put you on the couch. You see what I'm saying? Now we got virtual, you can do Zoom. I mean, literally there's no reason why you can't talk to somebody about why do I continue to chase this? And then when I finally achieve it, it's still not enough. What is it really that I need? Okay. So that's that. And let's talk about another thing about the chasing the bag mentality. Can we just change the way we see wealth? I mean, for real. No, like literally, like, can we just change the way that we actually see wealth? Because when was the last time you actually said, man, I'm tired of being broke, or I'm tired of the business, like, being something, or just tired and broke and poor and all these words that you actually use to describe yourself? Mr. and Mrs. Entrepreneur. Okay. Mr. and Mrs. Coach that inspires the rest of the world to be great. And then you're not so positive when no one's around. So I'm talking about those folks that use that word that is like so far from what real wealth is. Like, let me explain something. I looked this word up because I'm sure there's somebody that's listening right now that has literally said out loud that they feel broke, or they're tired of being broke, or just using that word. And so I'm just going to use poor, which is the opposite of wealthy or wealth. And the words that come to mind when I looked this up was undernourished, deficient, worse than desirable, and then not adequate. So just that alone, in the way that you talk to yourself, the way you talk to yourself, are you really going to continue to tell yourself how you're undernourished? When didn't we start with this entire segment of I am lacking nothing? I'm really serious. I'm looking at you right now. Didn't we start with I am lacking nothing? So that can't go with the idea that I am undernourished or deficient. Like, one of the worst things, I have this men's group down here in South Florida, justifiably alpha men. It's good times. You guys gotta join. If you want to be sharpened, with folks that will sharpen you. We got to talk about networks that sharpen you versus you actually being the smartest or the person that has the most money in the room. No, find another circle. I know you've heard of it and you may feel uncomfortable, but that's a good thing. Like, I actually tell people all the time, like, get to a place of being uncomfortable when you're in social settings, because you will level up. Okay. That was a little side note. I don't even know where I was going with that, but it has something to do with the, that a lot of times with men specifically, the word inadequate, police, that's not going to ever go well. Okay. To actually talk about yourself in an inadequate way. So remember, you are saying that about yourself every time you are tired of being broke, using that language. Change your language. Okay. Change your language when speaking about yourself as a business owner. Okay, so we got that. Okay. I put 5 little points on here because I get excited. That was 3. Number 4. We ready? Okay. So this is for all you workaholics. You workaholics. I used to be that, and then I was like, you know what? I used to work 7 days a week, and now I'm going to work 5 because I don't want to be a workaholic wife, and I don't want to be a workaholic mother. It's not a good look. Sorry. It's just not. It's not for me, but maybe you guys to have somebody else tell you. So this is for all the workaholics. You guys make the worst lovers. I said it out loud. You workaholics make the worst lovers. Let me tell you why. Okay, so I get if you're with somebody that's hella shallow that just wants your dollar or your coin, then maybe they think you're great. But I'm gonna tell you, for anybody that wants some substance from you, you may not be feeding them. Now, let me tell you, that's why I like to call this segment like you're beating to your own drum, but nobody else can hear the music. So like, just know, let me see how to say this, that just because you're passionate about it, doesn't mean your spouse needs to be, doesn't mean your partner needs to be, doesn't mean that your family really cares. So let me tell you what ends up happening though. You know, everybody's got something to say when you start. I get it. Oh, okay. You're going to have a painting with twist franchise. Oh, okay. Oh, you're going to do yoga with cats. Oh, okay. Oh, you're going to give, I don't know, baked cookies every time that you sell a house. Oh, okay. Sounds expensive. Like all the naysayers got so much to say. Now, the crazy thing is they watching you. Okay. Just so you know, the naysayers, I love them. I'm like, you do know, I don't even know you were in the room, but you're the one that's talking bad about what I'm doing. But I didn't even know you were here. But you guys have heard of all publicity is good publicity. I'm not saying do anything that's like bad or controversial or anything like that. But I'm just saying stop trying to please folks because they're still talking about you if it was good or bad, if they didn't receive you or not. Okay. That was a little, we could just gonna drop that crumb right there. But there was a place I was going. Yes. Your family members and your spouse and your partners, like you're just not a really good family member. You might not even be a good friend because it's all about you getting to this one place. Like, I'm gonna just let you know, like for me, real wealth has to do with relationships. Like, I love when people call me and are like, do you know any attorneys? And I'm like, shoot, I do. I know like 20. Not because I'm so great, but because I've been in rooms where I was wanting to learn from folks. And then I make myself known, not because I needed something from them, or I needed them to call me so I can make a coin. It's because I actually wanted to learn. I wanted to figure this thing out called life. That meaning that I don't have it all together and I want to learn what I don't know. And so I love when people call and they are able to tap into my network, right? And I'm only saying that, I'm calling it my network. That sounds so weird. Like, that's weird to say out loud. But you guys get what I'm saying. The idea is that's real wealth to me. That's rich. You get what I'm saying? Like when somebody like needs like a plumber and I'm like, which plumber? Which plumber do I call? Or someone needs like a realtor and I'm thinking, wow, which actual county are you actually in? Because I want to make sure that they can come to you. All right. So that's that in terms of the worst lovers. Oh, eating and sleeping. I got to put that on the side of the workaholics. I just thought about this. I get a little shiny. I get a little excited and I'm fine with that because it's natural. You see what I'm saying? Some of y'all are worried about what things look like and you need to be worried about what actually people feel from you. And so I'm not worried about this sweat going on my forehead or in my nose. Okay, so we're back. Eating and sleeping. Some people actually like pride themselves on like, I didn't even eat anything today. You don't get any points for that. Okay, because you're so busy. I hate that word. The B word. Ooh, it makes my like my stomach just bubbles. Like you're that busy that you can't get a bagel and cream cheese. Like, okay, so is death like which is the other option of you taking care of yourself? I'm just saying. And then sleep. You got to evaluate what's keeping you up at night. I get that we can become so ambitious, but we talked about that earlier, that ambitious can be a disease, right? We said that. I said that all out, right? And so keeping whatever is keeping you up at night, find a way to be productive. Productivity will let go of all that procrastination because sometimes, you know, it sounds good when folks come into my office and they want to start with like, I have so much on my mind. I have so many racing thoughts because all the things that I want to do. And then I break it all down within about 5 minutes. And the truth is that you're like a procrastinator. And that's possibly why you're up at night, because you haven't really checked that much off your to-do list. Like, there's no chill button in entrepreneurship. It like the first 5 years, like people kill me with this chill button. It's kind of like it's like equivalent to people giving themselves like a cheat day in a diet that they aren't even keeping all week. Yeah, that right there. Like, you're gonna give yourself a chill button because you're tired? Like, no, you haven't earned your chill button. You ain't earned your cheat day. You see what I'm saying? You got to do some things that you're proud of to get to this place of like, oh, now I can chill. I knew I started chilling maybe by my 3rd or 4th year in my private practice. And I now know how to do things. The pandemic helped me with that, how to do nothing on purpose. So yes, there is no chill button, especially in the beginning. Like, no one is not like, it's okay. Like, just push yourself, because remember, you're actually living the dream. Now, I got a couple extra things about just little points of being the entrepreneur. Don't underestimate free events. Okay, like that level of like, it's just like, I don't know if it's you're so proud or arrogant, because it ain't confidence if you think you're too good to actually do something for the community. Like, not only will it be beneficial to you that you finally, like, you know, bring it down a little bit and become back to earth, you know what I mean? But like sometimes, I don't know, I made so much money even, that was like the beginning of my practice, that I couldn't even believe that I was there for free on a piano. And then the people wanted to pay me later, like, oh my God, I want to see you. And I actually didn't even realize that was like a branding thing. I actually wanted to be there. I wanted to be at the church to help the community in mental health. Now, why am I saying this? Because people wanted to hire me because I'm believable. And you know why I'm believable? Because I live like this. And so I'm effective because you can tell inside out that like, oh, she really means this thing. I bet you she acts like this when nobody is around. It's real. You can find that out if you ever came to a party. You see what I'm saying? Like, I really, really act like this. My husband says I don't turn it off, but it's not because I'm trying to be anybody's therapist. It's because like, we got to figure out how we can like stop living this life of, what's that word when folks, of excuses. That's that life of just, you got hella excuses. Like, but for what? You chose this. Okay, so mental health, I know people are like, wow, I never expected a doctor of clinical psychology to be this rough. Yeah, sometimes folks got to get in your grits. I am here to actually be a little fire under your butt for you to get back on track. Okay, last thing that I wanted to say, check your jealousy. That's right. It's a J word that nobody likes to say out loud. Are you jealous? No, I don't think I'm jealous of anything. No, check your jealousy, because all that comparing, I'm sure they may have talked about it when the social media lady was on. I'm sorry, I missed your name. And just like you looking, just the things that we do when we start comparing what other people are doing and what their content is doing and how many likes and how many followers they have. Check your jealousy, because the truth is, when I find people that literally have some envy or something with what I'm doing, I'm saying, baby, don't just be jealous of this moment right here because of the coin that you now see that I'm making. You better be jealous of that foreclosed home back in 2009. You better be jealous of that eviction note on my home about 4 years ago, because I only had one client which was paying me $300 every Tuesday. That's right. One client, it started. That's how we started in 2018. One client every Tuesday, $300. So 4 weeks, every week, I would make $1,200 in the month. Almost getting to the rent, which was $1,500. Almost. Did y'all hear that? Almost getting to the rent. So when you're jealous of what folks are bringing after the 5 years of the grind with gratitude, make sure you're jealous of the struggle too, which is why I just want you to check the jealousy. Just ask somebody, man, what did you do? And I tell people all the time, and I'm done. Word of mouth is everything. Period. I don't market a thing. I don't even know what my life would be like if I started marketing, like soliciting or whatever that is that happens. I just know that somebody had their life changed. Someone's marriage was mended. Someone now gets along with their teenage son or daughter. Someone has learned how to grieve in an adaptive way. And they now, whoever's around them is like, oh, wow, you're different. And then they will say, oh, yeah, you need to call Dr. Tasha because of the change that happened. Period. Word of mouth is everything. And thank you. I'm done. I think I'm done. Yep, we're gonna call this done. Okay. Thanks for listening.
Ooh, can we say mic drop? Like that? That is like the everything.
I know. I don't even want to know what are y'all laughing at over there?
Look, can I? You dropping crumbs and gems all at the same time.
Oh my goodness!
And boulders.
Y'all know I get a little passionate.
Dr. Tasha, we should have had you start and end this event.
That was great.
Oh my gosh, I don't even have words. But Dr. Tasha, thank you is an understatement. I lost the question I was about to ask, but let me think about this carefully here. So when it comes to entrepreneurship, I think a lot of times people think that they are grinding, right? They're just going through it, but they don't think that they need help to get through it. What do you say to the entrepreneur that may need to call up Dr. Tasha right now?
What?
And it's delaying.
Die? Will you just let your pride die? Kill it dead. You see what I'm saying? It's getting in the way. Right. Your pride is getting in the way. Okay. So I understand there's a West Indian pride, the Caribbean people. I've heard that now that I live down here in Florida. That ain't no shot at nobody. It's just an idea that like, we don't really ask for help. So I get it. You weren't taught that. Now I'm telling you right now, unlearn some of that. Like pride will literally kill you because somebody could be right beside you if you just like humbled yourself for 17 seconds and just let them know where you are right now.
Right.
I literally remember there was a lady, and this sounds crazy, but I'm gonna just say it out loud. I told her, can I say this out loud? You know, I'm a little, okay. I basically let her know. I said it just like that. I literally told her, I said she looks uncomfortable in her own wig. I said it like that. Let me tell you why I said that. I said, I've seen lots of pictures of you, and I said, I love your natural hair. Why do you think you need to wear a lace front every time you're going to present? Now, y'all see, I'm happy tippy nappy. You know, I twist it up. Sometimes I braid it up. It's fine. This isn't against all wig wearers. Okay. This is not dramatic. Don't even try me and call me up. I don't want to even hear that. I'm letting you know that I could tell that every time that she went on to present, she really wasn't being her authentic self.
Right.
When she took that off and then went to her, like, I can't even tell y'all, she was so free, but she was taught, because some things we need to unlearn of how we're supposed to look. How long ago did y'all stop wearing pantyhose? You see what I'm saying? There was a point where you're like, I am not going to wear another stocking. It's hot. But we were taught that. And now you can give yourself a little bit of grace because you at some point unlearn what things supposed to look like. Free yourself. Just be honest with yourself and just free yourself. Because we can see through it. That's why you don't get your clientele or your patients or whatever, because you're not believable. Do you understand? You can make coins because people believe you. Okay, I'm going to bring it back. Okay.
No, that's really great. I really appreciate you talking about grinding with gratitude, because you don't have to be sad and long face and like the end of the world is coming because you got a little sweat above your brow.
Oh, yeah, please. I'm sweating all the time. It's okay. It's okay. And then the sweat here, you guys, you know, that if I had like a long sleeve, I would still flap my arms. But the truth is, like, I can't do anything about it. It's healthy. And so the thing about it is, for me, what I've learned is you have to have a level of self-acceptance.
Right.
First. Hi, my name is Dr. Tasha and my nose is always shiny. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's fine. If I have to say that in my AA meeting, that's fine. Like, that's my reality. And then guess what other 99 things I'm great at? You know what I mean? That's just my one thing that possibly I could be insecure about, or I could just accept it. That's how deep it is. That part is just a mind shift to learn how to accept your insecurities and your fears. Or maybe you already checked off the fears and you're like, oh, wow, I don't need to fear that anymore. It actually already happened.
Right.
Love it.
Man, Dr. Tasha, you might drop some crumbs, drop some gems. You made us jealous of the struggle.
You better be jealous of the struggle. People kill me with that. Oh my God, I love your home. I'm like, you better love that eviction notice I had 4 years ago. You better love all that before you try to get in this pool and be envious. Yeah.
Truth.
I love that. Thank you. It's perspective. That is great perspective. And thank you so much for capping off the evening with the entrepreneur mindset. And you definitely put something on our mindset.
Oh, yes.
Thanks for having me, y'all.
Thank you so much. We truly enjoyed your presentation, beating to my own drum when others can't hear it. Absolutely love it. We look forward to connecting with Dr. Tasha again. Man, Dr. Tasha, you're going to push us to do this. This is going to have to be a live event one of these days. We're going to have to do some all out. But thank you so much, Dr. Tasha. We truly, truly appreciate your presence during this. I don't even have words anymore.
And she's on Instagram. You guys can find her at drivebytherapy.org. And she's also on Instagram at the same by the same name.
Dr. Tasha.
Yes.
And Dr. Tasha, can you tell folks, I know that you do something on a certain day of the week where you check in and you answer questions live, I believe. What is that called?
Oh, yes. 12 noon on Mondays. Every Monday, I call it a nooner. And so everybody can afford me every hour for how much my hourly rate is. And that's fine. You can get on live for free and we'll just have a quickie. I call it a drive-by therapy quickie. And so we'll have a nooner together from 12 to 1. Everybody and anybody is able to get on. That is Dr. Tasha. And yes, I look forward to talking to you guys soon.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Night, Dr. Tasha.
We definitely appreciate you.
Good night.
Ooh, we're going into our next entrepreneur mindset tip for the night. Ooh, I don't even have, like, Dr. Tasha just pulled me through some things right there. I had to really think. So take ownership. And this is timely because she just told us we need to, we need to check ourselves for real. Reach out to customers first. And honestly, the greatest way that you can do that is doing some of these types of, free events, free activities, going out into the community. Look at what Dr. Tasha's doing with this nooner. She's connecting with people, and you never know who can become a client or a customer just by very nature of you giving of your time. So here at LearnBiz, the podcast, that is something that we are a firm believer of. That is why we interview entrepreneurs on a regular basis and share some tips from them about their entrepreneur journey. Lisa.
Oh my goodness. I'm like you, Sandy. I'm almost at a loss for words. One of the things we just want to remind you, if you enjoyed this presentation this evening and you want to hear more from LearnBiz, the podcast, from great entrepreneurs sharing their experiences, please subscribe to LearnBiz, the podcast. We definitely would appreciate your support, and we're going to do our best to continue to bring you great programming, live programming, and great guests right here on this platform. And I know Sandy wants to talk some about some of the promotional materials that we have, and just remind you maybe once again what's coming up. And I think we also have maybe some type of feedback questionnaire of some sort that we would like for you to take part of with regard to this seminar this evening.
So just check out the link in the chat. It's just a quick form, a couple of questions. We would really appreciate your feedback on this event. This is really a mini version of a larger scale project that we're hoping to drop as soon as we can, because I think that this is something that is needed. And that's why, in having programs like this, we get the feedback that we need to make sure that we understand what your needs are. Please look out. We're coming with some merch pretty soon. So we have our Entrepreneur Mindset Tactical Planner ebook coming soon. We'll be having some mugs and some shirts in the works very, very soon. So we look forward to you having an opportunity to enjoy that. And we want to say a thank you not only to you who are watching tonight and who have taken some time out of your day to watch and share in this experience, but we want to thank each and every one of our speakers. Michelle Austin Pamies, she talked to us about business formation. She's an attorney here in South Florida. Nequosha Anderson, also an attorney. She talked to us about trademark and copyright. Dr. Tachi, she talked to us about social media and gave us that booming voice with that power and gave us some tips and resources for us to strengthen our social media presence. We had Harry Joseph. He dropped us some little gems and we lost him, but we'll try to get Harry back so he can share some more experiences with us about branding and the importance of your imagery.
Yes.
Juliana Kennedy, powerful messages about getting your accounting and your bookkeeping in order. Amazing woman. She always drops information. You should catch her on Clubhouse and go to her website for sure. I'm going to drop her website in the chat. And definitely, last but not least, Dr. LaTasha Russell Harris. She gave us some food for the soul. I couldn't help but type in the things that she was saying in the chat. So if you missed what she had to say, I want you to go back and listen to it and look at the chat at the same time and renew your spirit, entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Eat, sleep, and be jealous of the struggle too.
I love it. And grind with gratitude. So Sandy, we've had a wonderful evening.
Yeah, I'm left speechless right now. Like I have more words, but we'll talk with the folks in the backstage as we close this out. But thank you guys so much. LearnBiz, the podcast. We're live on YouTube weekly. Please stay tuned. We have Jonathan Cyprian, NFL veteran and real estate investor, coming to you on Friday. We have Suzette Speaks. She has an amazing platform here on YouTube. She does so many different things that you will definitely benefit from. We have the Mistress of Ceremonies, Crystal Chanel, coming to you straight on here at LearnBiz, the podcast. And we're going to be talking to the owner and operator of the Dunn's Josephine Hotel, right? She is coming to us to share information about the hotel industry, in particular here in South Florida. So you're truly going to have a treat. So thank you guys so much.
Yes, thank you so much. We really appreciate your support.
All right, tuning out. Have a good night, guys.